a second. So my cat just broke the camera, I think. So anyway, yeah, do that, would you? So that's what alchemy is, and different forms of alchemy. Um, Different forms of alchemy are alchemy is made in different ways. It's according to, stop doing that, please. Thank you. I got it. Thank you. My wife is trying to help me. Okay, so the different forms of alchemy. Alchemy is a universal form of science, which is based on what am out of focus? Which is based on where the stars are, where the what kind of where you are on Earth, where you make what time of year, and all those things. So it's a multifaceted art form, sort of like what cinema is.
Right.
It's a combination of different kinds of sciences all put together into one science.
What about do you want to go into the new Batman movie, The Dark Knight? Do you have any remarks on that?
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing film, I think. And Sharon, can you get him? Hang on a second. My very cute cat is attempting to destroy my whole interview here. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises is a very interesting film because it's about a secret society that doesn't like Gotham being civilized and no crime. And so it decides that it doesn't like the stability of Gotham, and so it sends in one of their members, a very vicious member of their secret society, two actually members. One is posing as a philanthropist, and the other one is just an outright psychopath. And the psychopath is actually the stooge of the person who's impersonating the good person, and the quote good person tricks Bruce Wayne into giving over his nuclear fission machine so that he can have free energy for everybody. He gives it to her for free, but she turns it into a nuclear bomb by reversing it, the instructions on it, and the other bad guy creates an Occupy Gotham, in which he occupies Gotham by letting out all the criminals out of the cells, and then Batman has to come and save it by getting rid of the bomb, and we find out that the person that he thought was good was just impersonating this person, and actually she is the head of the secret society that hates Gotham because of its wealth and stability. And Nolan, who was raised in Chicago, and he's Irish descent, but he was raised in Chicago. It's his story of America and what is happening to America, in that a secret society from away from America hates America for its wealth and its stability, and so it sends in an impersonator who looks like a good person, to destroy Gotham or America from the inside. And it's a warning. It's a warning that this is about to happen to us, and it is about to happen to us.
And so what is Chicago? Is that, are you relating that to Obama, or what do you mention in Chicago?
Well, It's not just. Chicago's one of the. I was going to do a documentary until my wife told me that she'd leave me if I did. But I was going to go to Chicago. I was going to say, oh, this is where the mafia started in this house here, and this is where the University of Chicago started. This is where Ayn Rand taught. This is where Milton Friedman taught. And you start looking, and you realize the University of Chicago, that the first real mafia, serious mafia, started in Chicago in the 20s. There's a great book called Super Mob, which everyone should read. And immigrants from Russia and the Ukraine came to Chicago, and they looked at America as easy pickings. And so they, because Americans were fat and lazy and naive, and they came here and they sort of created the mob that killed Kennedy, the mob that ran the United Fruit Company and conquered most of South America and Central America, ran Cuba, and they were associated with the New York mob too, so they're kind of sisters or brothers. And they began began. They funded not only a lot of Hollywood, but the University of Chicago, which came with Dick Cheney, with Paul Wolfowitz, Alan Rudd, Obama taught there, and this kind of nightmare predatory capitalism was born in the University of Chicago from being funded by these mobsters. And it's like nobody sees this story that is truly one of the most amazing stories in U.S. history. The Godfather touches on it, though. Coppola, and if you ever want to get a good reading for film and cinema history, I implore everybody to buy the Godfather films and listen to Coppola's commentary. Oh my goodness, does he reveal a lot. But, Max Factor, the makeup god, he was a mob, he worked for the Chicago mob, and he got his start covering up hits so they looked good at the funeral. And he went to Hollywood. When the mob took over Hollywood, they called him in to make the women look better. And he started his whole makeup company based on hits, making hits look better in their funerals. The whole thing is absolutely hilarious, and nobody understands it. And their fingerprints, frankly, are all over the Kennedy assassination. They threw Illinois for Kennedy against Nixon in '60, and then he immediately sent Bobby in to investigate the same mob. Bobby started hearings in which the only times that many of the mobsters, the secret mobsters, were ever seen in public was when Bobby Kennedy called them, and they did not appreciate that. And Sidney Korshak was the head of the mob, and he got called up, and the only pictures you can see of Sidney Korshak are the ones where he's appearing in front of Bobby. He would kill you if you took a picture of him. That's how serious he was. And he moved from Chicago to LA and funded Lou Wasserman, who was also a mobster, and funded the entire MCA. It was all mob funded, and Ronald Reagan worked for the Chicago mob, and it's like the whole thing is just absolutely incredible.
Jay, I'll tell you one other you touched on great is a friend of mine who's an 80-year-old film historian in Venice, California. He said the mob did product placement, but not even with products by brand name, but they did product placement on cigarettes and booze. There was no brand name involved.
Exactly right. If you watch the films from the 20s and 30s that are all made by the mob, that's where you see all the serious alcohol and cigarettes, and Betty, what's her name? Betty Davis smoking a cigarette, it's like
romanticizing it.
Yeah, they were inculcating us with their mob products. It's hilarious.
And so we can keep going. If you're okay, I could close out with a few more things.
I think I have to close out because I'm getting hungry.
Okay. Jay, it's really been a pleasure.